Okay, I would like to call the February 8th, 2024 Plan Commission meeting to order at 7 p.m. If you would please rise if you can for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have the roll call, please.
Bill Thomas,
Here.
Ken Carroll,
Here.
Angelo DeSerio,
Here.
Jan Platau, John Stanton, Cheryl Slabazeski, here, and Jeff Peterson.
Here.
Okay, the first order of business is the approval of the November 9, 2023 Plan Commission meeting minutes. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make that. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Peterson, second by Commissioner Carroll. Roll call, please.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski,
Yes.
Angelo DeSerio,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Please change my response to abstain.
Abstain?
I was
Okay,
not here that time.
okay.
Okay, this evening we have two cases on our docket. The first case is SU-24-1-2-1, a request from Lisa Holland, owner of Cozy Paws Accommodations LLC, seeking approval of a B3 special use for an animal/kennel and a variance for parking on the property located at 2551 Theodore Street in Crest Hill, Illinois. Samantha, is the paperwork in order?
The paperwork is in order.
Okay, then I would like to have a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner DeSerio,
Second.
second by Commissioner Peterson. Roll call, please.
Angelo DeSerio,
Yes.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, again, the subject of this public hearing is to discuss case SU-24-1-2-1. I would like to ask our interim city planner, Maura Ragoni, to present the specifics.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you this evening are two requests, a special use request as well as a parking variation for the property located at 2551 Theodore Street. The applicant, Lisa Holland from Cozy Paws, is requesting a special use for a daycare and boarding business for dogs at the location. This is a kind of a more industrial type looking building on the east side of Thomas Court at Theodore Street, and it has 4 units. The unit that she's looking at is the northernmost unit, Unit A, and the other 2 units in the middle are occupied currently, with the last unit on the south being vacant. With this proposal included in your packet is a business operations, outlining the hours of operation, how they intend to operate internally as well as externally of the site. Included also at the north side of the property, extending from the rear to the north of the building, they are proposing to enclose an area for the dogs. They are proposing a 6-foot wood shadow box fence. There are regulations in our zoning ordinance that do specify for animals, animal clinics, shelters, etc. One being a fence to adequately screen, of which they're proposing. And then the fact that no dogs may be kept outdoors during non-business hours or overnight. With that also is that there are parking requirements for this type of a use. We did look at, because it was a little bit unique, we did ask the applicant to provide additional information. Because of the nature of the site and the building, that it would require somewhere between 40 and 50 parking spaces with the strict interpretation of the zoning code. Because the nature of the building, in terms of how it's used and the proposed uses, is not likely that they would hit those marks of needing There's currently about 20 marked parking spaces on site. We did have a conversation with the owner of the property. They did indicate that B&C is used by an HVAC company who has very limited need in terms of vehicle parking outside. As you can see, then also with the applicant indicating the hours of operation as well as then the type of business needing very little parking as well. That would leave then, based on the numbers, probably about 10 to 12 for Unit D, which is the last unit, which is vacant. Over the course of the years, I've had a number of conversations with the owner of this property, and coming down to the business has always been the parking. But these, as I mentioned, these types of buildings kind of lend themselves to not that conventional commercial type building, but those that are more of that warehouse with the open area. So as part of this, it's not only the special use request for the dog daycare and boarding, but also then the variance request for the parking for this particular property in itself, all units of A, B, C, and D. So as we said, in your packet is included a plat of survey which identifies the location of where the outdoor area is. It's north of the building on the plat of survey, which is lot 3, as well as an extending. There is a fence that does run along the east property line as well. As mentioned, this is B3. This is a special use request. In your packet, we've also included the standards for variation as well as then that of a special use pertaining to the request. And I am here if you have any additional information or questions.
Okay, thank you. So before I ask anyone from Cozy Paws to come and state their case, unfortunately, I have to tell you that the number of letters, if I'm correct.
Correct.
That-
Would you like?
Yeah, go ahead.
Chairman? Okay, so requirement is that we notify all property owners within 300 feet of the property. In speaking to the applicant, that it was done by the unit itself and not the entire property. To ensure that we do have proper notification, they did follow through with that. It was just captivating the entire. So to ensure that we were holding a proper public hearing, to ensure that we have proper publication notice, it was in the newspaper and post signed. We're gonna recommend that we don't close the public hearing, but we take testimony and we continue to have dialogue, keep the public hearing open, and then we'll conclude on the March 14th meeting.
Okay,
Okay?
all right. So who was here from, are you Lisa?
I am Lisa.
Okay, you didn't bring a dog with you, did you?
No, I didn't. I
That would have been awesome, you know?
Should I go up there?
Yes, please come to the podium. I think there's a place to sign your
Okay,
name
is
there.
this right here, that thing?
And that, oh, do we have a,
There's a sign-in sheet.
oh, there is?
Oh, sorry, okay, let me, all right. So.
And
Okay,
would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God?
yes, I do.
Okay, so tell us what you want to do.
Okay, so I would like to open a doggy daycare and boarding facility on Theodore there, because currently I am doing it from the inside of my house, which probably know that I've been doing it for 5 years, but only have recently come in contact with code enforcement, and it is not a zoned area for that kind of business. So it's been very difficult trying to find a brick and mortar type building to move my business to, because nothing has grass around it anymore. It's all asphalt and concrete, and grass is very necessary for the dogs to obviously go outside and that kind of thing. So we're looking to boost our business and try to get that unit so that we can make it as homey as we can for an industrial space. That'll be fun and exciting, but the people who come to Cozy Paws really like the home environment, and we've really strived to make them happy, and that's why they keep coming to Cozy Paws. Our revenue has grown year after year by mostly word of mouth. We do a lot of advertising on Facebook and that kind of thing, but they always keep coming back because the dogs aren't kenneled in metal cages all the time. They are free to walk around, do their thing, play. We're hoping to add some agility, to keep them busy in that way. Currently, we have like a living room for them and a dog room for dogs who want to be kind of like on their own and not maybe interact as much. They might be more shy. But we love the dogs, we love them like our own, and we would be honored if we could have our business in Crest Hill. And it does have grass, which is just amazing. So I don't know if you have other questions. I've been in business since 2018. I have 250 clients that are very loyal. I have a few of them here tonight that keep coming with me to these things. I used to live in Romeoville. I live in unincorporated Romeoville now, thinking that it would be more okay in unincorporated Romeoville. Well, it didn't happen that way. So before I made my second mortgage payment, I got code enforcement came to my door. So I'm kind of like in a pickle and would really like to, what I've always wanted to do is have a building. So now it's time. So I would greatly appreciate any help you guys could give.
All right, so let me say, I'll start with you, Commissioner Pearson. Do you have any questions of Lisa?
I think I read that you only have 2 employees, you and another one.
Right now,
So probably the only thing's gonna be parking, and if it's just gonna be you two, and then people drop their dogs off, they don't hang around.
no, not at all.
They pick
They,
up their dogs.
right, it's only like a couple minutes they come to drop off. Now we would have an actual office area so we could, intercept the dog and bring them to the back. They'd only be there a couple minutes. We have specified drop-off times and pickup times, so it's not an all-day affair. It's our hours that you see. We have drop-off times from 6:30 to 9 in the morning, and then at noontime, and then from 4 to 7. So it's, because we were kind of getting pulled away from being with the dogs as well when we were constantly having people come and go. So we have set times, so we wouldn't be interfering with the HVAC people, all the time. It would be, I'm not sure what their hours are, but we kind of open early and we kind of stay late, so.
Okay. So, how many dogs would you have at a time, or would you be able to?
I would like to increase my daycare to about 20 dogs. Right now, I have an average of 10. So I have to tell people, I have to turn people away for daycare right now, because obviously it's in my house, it's a small house. About 20 dogs for daycare, and then usually about 5 to 8 dogs for boarding, but boarding varies more than daycare. You get certain people every day of the week, that kind of thing, so.
And then there'd be parking on the street over there also, on that cul-de-sac.
Right, and we wouldn't, I've only had actually one time where I've had multiple people at the same time in my driveway, trying to get into my driveway to pick up dogs. So, I mean, it seems to be pretty varied when they come pick them up, and they're quick, so, it's just kind of come and go, and that's how we handle that,
So
so.
then in your eyes, parking should be okay with what's.
Right, I thought I heard 40 to 50 spaces or something, but it was 4 to 5. Was that what you said?
Based on the interpretation of what the code would and that size of the building, it would require 40 to 50,
Okay.
and that's if it was built to code, which it was not in terms of what it is. So based on the
Okay.
parking that is provided is about 20 parking spaces, and based on the needs of the other units, and indicating what the applicant has done. in
Right.
terms of their-
I would currently only need 2. I would like to hire 1 or 2 more part-time people, because I do it 24/7, so I like to have a break once in a while. But, I mean, the most would be 4 spaces, where maybe we use 1 or 2 for drop-off and 2 for employees. I wouldn't probably have 4 employees there at the same time, so.
Okay, good, thanks.
Thank you.
You said you're gonna be boarding dogs, so you'll be having dogs in your facility during non-business hours?
Right.
And how will these dogs be supervised? Who looks after them after
Right,
after hours?
an employee or myself would be staying on the premises. That particular building has an upstairs, so the boarding kind of area would be on the upstairs level. And as I said, we don't kennel, so we would have multiple dog beds, plus probably like a regular bed for the dogs to lay on. That's what we do currently, so,
Okay, so those dogs will be cared for 24/7?
exactly, yes.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering if you were going to put a security system on the property,
How soon, or?
or are you going to?
Oh, yes, of course. I would have security. Currently, my house, I have 2 cameras. My prior house, I had 4 because it was a 3-level house. So right now, I have in the front, for the front and for the back. Here, I would probably have 4 cameras, front, back, upstairs, downstairs, maybe 2 on the first floor, just to, have an eye, even if someone's in the office, they can have an eye on what's going on, so. But definitely security is needed, especially if we're gonna be there overnight with the dogs, I don't know that area that well, so I like to be safe, and the dogs.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
You're gonna have designated walking times, right? And, well, I saw in your email that you have a designated walking times. You're gonna have a designated walking area for the dog relief?
No, I mean, they're allowed to go out as needed. We can specify, more of like a morning time and a noon time and an afternoon time if that's required. Like right now, like we have the door open, my heating bill's probably a little higher than it needs to be, but and we have them, they're able to go in and out as as they please. But, the walking times are more for the lunchtime hour where one of us actually goes and walks dogs at other people's houses.
Okay.
So, we have that. That's why I might need a couple extra people just to be able to cover that, but we're trying to kind of get away from the drop-ins and walks just because we're trying to build our revenue streams are mainly the boarding and the daycare, especially the daycare after COVID. It just boomed because everybody got their dogs during COVID, so it's a lot of dogs out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
So the spot A in that building, you're renting that or buying that?
Leasing,
You're
yeah.
leasing it?
Mhm.
Okay, the owner of the whole thing has no problem having dogs?
He's called me and he seems to be excited about it, so, which makes me even more excited. So it sounds like he's, on board, so.
So when I look at the building, a couple of questions. First of all, there's a huge garage door.
Uh-huh.
Are there any plans to ever open that garage door?
I'd have to check that out because I know there's ways that you can like sort of have it open and ventilated where they have those, I haven't worked with such a large garage door like that before, but,
Yeah, I think we would prefer that it wasn't.
Right, well, if that's it, then we would not, so.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it has 2 big garage doors or 1 garage door? Just the
big
one? Okay, so,
It
yeah,
probably would be good to move your equipment in and out.
Right.
And other than that,
right, use the regular door.
so again, as you look at the building to the right of A, there's 2 windows. Is one of those windows on the second floor in building A?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's in Unit B. That's
They're
where
both
the-
on unit B?
It's where the HVAC
Okay.
gentleman is at.
Yeah, yeah, I wondered if that, because those were the only 2 windows in the entire thing.
Oh,
so.
yeah, so,
Okay, so, the big concern when somebody says they're gonna put a dog kennel in my neighborhood
right,
is all that noise, oh my goodness.
right.
So, what do you think about, if you're living right now with the dogs,
Yeah,
what do you think about the noise?
Yeah, no, we have a few talkative dogs, we like to call them talkative. We have ways to humanely, keep them quieter, such as, we have cans of air, which, you blow air with your computer or whatever. Some don't prefer that, so they stop barking that way. We have water bottles, some dogs don't like water. Some love it, you do it and you're like, yeah, give it out, so. And then we also have vibration collars, no shock, it's just vibration. And, that seems to work really well, and even, it has a beeping sound, and sometimes just the beep keeps them, whoa, I'm gonna be quiet now. So those would be the individual type dog silencers kind of thing. And then I have been looking into acoustic panels, and their acoustic panels are hanging baffles that are supposed to really quiet the noise in like an industrial type area like that. I would have to price how much that is, but you could hang them on the walls or up from the ceiling. You could get the octagon type acoustic things that you put like several of them together on the sharing wall, so then the noise bounces off of that, and that's what I'm most concerned about. I tried to get in contact with the HVAC people just to kind of introduce myself and kind of have a conversation with them. I was unable to get a hold of them, but I would do whatever is necessary to keep that quiet in there. It's a bigger place with twice as many dogs as I have now in my 1,000 square foot house, so it would be a more distributed sound. So I think it would catch the sound pretty good if I had the wall panels or things on the wall to help with that.
Okay. I think we've covered most of the,
No problems with ventilation or temperature control? That's all
I
good
don't,
shape?
no, I guess it's heating and an air, and I don't know if the people next door, can fix that if there's a problem, but I'm willing to make deals now, so, but, yeah, I guess it's temperature controlled, so, we obviously keep it comfortable in,
Yeah, I'm more concerned with ventilation, because if you don't have a good ventilation, that place will start smelling like a barn.
right. We can definitely get some, we have like air purifiers and we can get fans and whatever we need to get, if there is a ventilation type issue, to
Good.
get things rolling, moving around, so.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
there was something in the read-ahead, and I think you may have clarified it, but it talked about certain times, and I think it was around the lunchtime, the way it read that you wanted to take the dogs for a walk,
Yeah,
but it's not these dogs.
not these dogs.
Yeah, okay, because we were gonna say, that neighborhood would not be conducive to.
Right.
walking
No, we could go
dogs.
get donuts or something. No, that's not, we have drop-ins that we have. We have a couple committed people in Crest Hill that, their dogs don't do well with other dogs, so they prefer us to go drop and walk them around.
You
And
would walk these dogs at their location rather than at your location.
Right. They have all, they're able to go out in the backyard right now and they just play as hard as they want. And then usually they're tired the rest of the day, so they're just pooped out on the couches and things like that, so.
Literally?
Early, and we hope early, so, but, and then we snuggle with them, so, we're very loving and hands-on with the dogs and stuff like that, but,
Okay, but you would go to someone's house and walk the dog.
right, yep, but we're kind of trying to get away from that, just to concentrate on our, because we have like a handful of that, it's like a 1% of the whole revenue, so,
That
but,
can be pretty involved, I know.
yeah, so, but they're close, some of them are close by, so, right off Gaylord, so that would be great. The other ones that I'd have to either convince to come more to daycare or figure something out, so,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Do any of the people that came with you want to say anything, or raise your hand if you really like it and you want it there, or whatever? There you go. So we did receive 2 emails from 2 people that could not say enough about Cozy Paws. I won't read them, but I will tell you one was from Alex Smith, and we will put them into the record. The other one was from Jenny Manashirov.
Right,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's pretty impressive.
thank you.
So,
You guys are free to, look at our website, we have plenty of reviews there, we have a 5-star review on Google. We have plenty of reels and photos to show you how we are with the dogs. We just love them to death. And I used to be an accountant for 25 years, and so it's a lot different than doing accounting. So, but I'm much happier, and it just is my passion. So I really, really love it. So.
Well, I'm sorry again that we're not able to make the official recommendation tonight, but if we're done with all the testimony, you can go sit down.
Okay, thank you.
And
Thank you for your time.
comments. Then I guess I'd like to get a motion to recess the public hearing until March 14th, at which time we will have had a chance to notify everybody that we believe needs to be notified. And then we will get together again and make our recommendation. So can I have, oh, I thought you said,
May I just say one?
yes, okay. You want to come to the podium?
No. Should I?
Yeah, come to the podium, we won't fight.
Public speaker. Sorry, I'm trying to get all red.
The
So I
first thing,
don't- I'm
but
sorry.
the hardest thing you're gonna have to do is you're gonna raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. I probably, my name
State
is
your name, please.
Sue Vorderer. I live in Naperville. And, I know. My maiden name was so much easier. V as in Victor, O-R, D as in David, E-R-E-R. So we've been going to Lisa for a couple of years. I'm sure I speak in everyone's behalf. Lisa just does an amazing job, and her crew. We've had 3 dogs through the years since we first were married back in 2001, and with the different people who've watched our 3 different rescues through the years, Lisa treats literally our dogs like our family, like we do at home. And that, she's the only one I have ever found that treats our dog and everyone's dog, in such a loving, caring, wonderful environment. Bailey, our recent rescue, she's probably was abused. She's a little hesitant around others, not Lisa, and not when we drop Bailey off, which is huge accolades. So I just wanted to not leave tonight without saying how appreciative we are, and she's a true gem for what we look for when we travel, and when we go on different family events. We can't bring a dog. It means so much for all of us to have. It's a home away from home, and so it just means the world because we love our dogs like our family, and we know Lisa loves them just like her own. So I just wanted to say
All right,
that.
thank you for saying that.
Sure. Thank you.
You're making me want to go get a dog now.
Highly recommend if you do it, Lisa.
Okay, yes, please.
I have more of a concern. I mean, I'm totally cool with what you do and everything, but I live in the neighborhood.
Here, would you please come to the podium here so we can,
If you can sign in as well too, please.
Sure.
and then please raise your right hand, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
And what is your name?
Dave Lear, L-E-H-R. I live in the Reflections Heights homeowners, which is
I'm sorry, I didn't hear where you said you live.
Reflections Heights homeowners, which is a property against this
That's the
industrial.
Town multifamily right behind there?
Correct. So I have concern with noise, and we've got a chop shop looking thing on this side, and I'm afraid of dogs barking all night on the other side. I have dogs, I'm a dog lover. I just don't want my dog talking to their dogs all night long. That's probably my biggest concern. I mean, fencing it, fixing it up, I'm cool with all that. I know you can't guarantee a dog not barking, but it's a concern a lot of us do have, that butt right up to that property, because it's literally just a couple 100 feet away. So,
Okay, thank you.
that's what I got.
And if you notice, that was the one concern that we raised, that we had
Yeah.
also.
Because, I mean,
And,
it's tight right there.
I was pretty impressed with all the options she has to eliminate the noise.
Sure.
And
Down the road, I would be more like, right off the bat, shoot for something like that, you know what I mean? Hell, I'd use your services. Yeah.
I'm trying to make a record,
Oh,
so
my
I
bad.
can't hear what you're saying.
I'm
I
sorry.
would like to be more like, and then you turn.
Oh, I mean, I don't have a problem with what they're doing. I like, work on soundproofing stuff in the beginning, right off the bat, if anything. Because you can't.
Definitely, if we could have found this place before it had all their walls up already, we would have, type stuff within the walls, so.
I get it, but literally, you're just a few hundred feet away from my back window.
Yeah, which
where I'm sleeping.
Reflections Drive, did you get the certified
I
letter?
get, yeah,
Which one, 2500?
2504.
2504, right, so, you know, we try to make it as quiet as possible. I am,
We're gonna roll the dice though.
yeah, so,
That's,
your
and
dogs
that's
are
what,
welcome to come
I mean,
and join, so.
I got enough going on.
I got a question.
What, me?
Do any of your neighbors approach you now about any kind of barking dogs where you're at now?
No, the woman across the street, I think, was the one that, that called code enforcement, but I think she has, a speed dial to code enforcement, because she also, I went and, I actually approached all my neighbors to talk to them about it, to see how, you know, they are feeling about it. And she was the only neighbor that said that she had called code enforcement continually on the people who used to live in the house that I was. And so and it was for domestic violence, and you know, she made it sound like I was doing something, you know, wrong, like a meth lab or something. But I don't think she hears the dogs, but her and her husband would sit out in the front and count the dogs going in and out. So it was more of a, you know, a black and white, that, you know, it's not zoned for dogs, that many dogs coming in and out, and that's why she called it code enforcement. It wasn't for barking.
So it wasn't a nuisance call?
Right, right. And, you know, I mean, I put an $8,000 fence in my yard, you know, thinking that I was gonna be all okay and everything, and then this happened to me again. So, this is the second time I had to go through code enforcement, so that's why I need to get a building. And, yeah, 200 feet doesn't seem that far, but we're on the opposite end of the building. We are, you know, proposing to put all this sound stuff in there. You know, I've discussed with certain dog owners about their dogs, so they know that I'd be using these things on their dogs. And, you know, I mean, if it got too bad, then, you know, those dogs wouldn't be able to come, you know, unfortunately. So,
Okay.
I'm not here to make enemies. I would love all the Reflection Drive owners, you know, if they have dogs, they're more than welcome to do a meet and greet. We do meet and greets to make sure that their dogs have the right temperament and that we're a good fit for them, so.
Okay, you're good,
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anything else?
All right, last call. Anybody else want to make a comment?
I will.
Okay, please come to the podium, sign in.
I am
Sign
Deborah
your name
Solera.
right there on the
Oh.
corner,
Oh,
Should we?
sorry.
and raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, and what's your name?
Deborah
Deborah? Okay.
Brissolera, B as in boy, Risolara. It took me a long time to figure out how to spell that. Lisa is my client of 20 years. I'm her realtor. I have to attest that she's a good person. She's great with the dogs. The other day, we were talking on the phone, 25 minutes? And I said, well, where are the dogs at? She goes, right here. I didn't hear a single peep out of any of them. So, and that was a conversation about this, actually, so, but she knows how to control the dogs. So the sound, and actually, I don't think I've ever had the dogs barking when we were chit-chatting and whatnot, so she knows how to control them. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, please, come up to the podium.
I got an easy name for you. Sue Stulis, Stulas.
And then just sign your name on
Yes.
that piece of paper. Raise your right hand.
Hold on 1 second.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay,
I'm just gonna kind of piggyback off of them. So I always wanted a dog as a kid, never was allowed to have one. And then I didn't get my kids a dog until they're grown. I mean, in the house, but grown. And we got a rescue, and she's afraid of everybody and everything. the amazing thing, so we were gonna go on a trip, and I'm like, oh gosh, what do we do? Because we were going, you know, it was to Florida, we could have driven, but I only had so much time off of work. And we by fluke found Lisa. I believe it was on Facebook. And we did a meet and greet, and she's like, oh yeah, we'll take her. And I'm like, yep, I just don't know if she's gonna go. And she is the only person that that Cheddar is the dog, that Cheddar has ever, like, taken to like she does. I mean, if I say, we're going to Cozy Paws, I mean, she's jumping around the house. She's like a little kid. I'm a school teacher, and I equate them equally because she is just like one of my students when I would say we're going to recess. She's so excited. She jumps in the car. She sees Lisa. And normally she's always by me. If I start to leave, she's whimpering. She sees Lisa and I'm nothing. She's like, I'm gone, So that tells me, I'm even including my mom and dad. We go to the house, but she's still always nervous, and this is the only place that I can honestly say she's like in her comfort zone outside of the house. So I feel like she's got some kind of magic because I don't know where else I would take her to have that. So she really does have a knack. As far as the noise issue, I don't live nearby. I'm just saying, I can't jump on that train with the realtor, but she really does a great job with the dogs. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Thanks.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yes. Mhm.
So, when the dogs first initially get together, it's kind of like a party for them. So when you have a party, you have people who, are introducing each other and they are, talkative, how are you doing or whatever. The dogs do that at first when they see each other. They get a little excited and they might bark. It's not an incessant barking all throughout the day. So, once they get that initial, oh, here's Cheddar, or here's Norton, or here's, whoever, they calm down, they go outside, they play, and then if we have to get the water bottle out, we do. But other than that, the dogs are really, we try to get good dogs so that we don't have to worry about that thing. But just like people have, hellos and all that, that's what the dogs do. And once that initial high there gets, it's quieter. So I just don't want Reflection Drive people to think that it's gonna be like barking, from 6:30 in the morning till 7 at night, because we couldn't handle that either. So, I just, there was something else I wanted to say, but now I can't remember. But I really appreciate all of you listening to my story and everything, and I hope some of you are dog lovers and kind of push this over the edge. So thank you so much.
There you are.
Thank you.
All right, this is the third last chance. All right, can I have a motion to recess the public hearing until the March 14th meeting?
I'll make that.
Motion by Commissioner Peterson, second by Commissioner Carroll. Roll call, please.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski,
Yes.
Angelo DeSerio,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Public hearing recessed at 7:38. Okay, thank you. So the second case for tonight is case V-24-1-2-1. Oh, I apologize ahead of time for butchering your last name. A request of Danius. How do you pronounce it?
Kasparavicius.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Who is seeking approval of 3 variances to permit an accessory structure on the property located at 2001 Noonan Street, Crest Hill, Illinois. Samantha, is this paperwork in order?
Paperwork is in order.
Okay, then I would like to have a motion to, yeah, you ladies don't need to stick around, I meant to say thank you. Motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner DeSerio, second by Commissioner Slabozowski. Roll call, please.
Angelo DeSerio,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski,
Yes.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Public hearing opened at 7:39. And again, I would like to ask our interim city planner, Maura Rigoni, to present the specifics of this case.
Thank you, Chairman. Before you this evening, as you noted, are three variation requests for the property at 2001 Noonan Street. Is to allow a 12 by 32 foot, which would be 384 square foot shed, to remain on the property as is. Currently encroaches to the easements, two easements on the on the west and the south side, which is not permitted to be in the easements, but also it does not meet the required setbacks as outlined in the ordinance. So the request today is for the setbacks for the actual structure itself. This is a unique lot in that it does have a through, so it's a double frontage lot. So the way that it is interpreted is a little bit different in what the requirements are. But also, there's also a 20-foot no access strip public utility and cable television easement that's in the rear, and the shed is placed 13.8 feet within that easement. There's also a utility easement and drainage easement along the south side of the property, of which the shed is located within there as well. So not only is it not meeting the required setbacks, but it's also impacting the easements. And we do have an ordinance that says that you cannot place any of the structures in easements, drainage and utility easements. One for access, two drainage, just in terms of the impact that it would have for stormwater. So in your packet, we did have the engineer did go out and review that. It is noted that this is currently out there. It was not, no building permit was approved for it. The building inspectors has gone out there and reviewed it. We did include the report in your packet for more informational purposes anyway, regardless of the variations, whether are considered, it still would have to comply with all building requirements for that. So it stated that there are three variations. For the request before, we've included the standards that are in the packet for your consideration. Just items for discussion are, the location of that, as well as the location of within the easements as well. In your packet, it also includes, the locations, as well as then the, should have, I think it has the plat as well. And I'm here if you have any additional questions.
Okay, would you first raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help me God. Okay, thank you. So,
Mr. Chairman, you need to open the public hearing.
oh, come on, Bill. Yes, hang loose a minute. Okay, well, I thought we did open the public hearing.
We did open.
My bad.
Yeah,
Too busy writing.
yeah, well, I mean, it wouldn't have been surprised.
Shame on me.
Yeah, it's
I'll
okay.
follow my sword.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead, tell us your story.
Well, first of all, sorry for my English, but I try to do my very best. I'm gonna start from 2020 of summer. I live in unique area, and my lot is unique. The thing is, this one, is the last lot in the street, in the Noonan Street, okay? So after that, I connect right away with the forest preserve. And on 2020 summer, the main water pipe, whereas the fire department connecting all them pipes for the trucks to get the water, they get broke. And the water flush, there was a lot of water, and they flushed the tree, and the tree roots, and the tree fell on my van. And in that case, there was a lot of coming, from city of Crest Hill coming people, and at that time, my truck was on them way, so they asked me to, what they can move, my truck, and three of them, which one was the tree was on the van actually, and so I was okay with that one, let them to move, because it wasn't my property, and they move away to get to fix the problem. And that time I meet the Kirk Williams, Kirk Wilkins, sorry, my bad. And I was telling him what I was planning to put the shed over there, because I was having but the old shed was the way smaller, you know. So I would like to get a bigger shed, you know, because like I mentioned, it's next to the forest preserve, the shed, you know, and so I have a lot of leaves, you know, and I need to clean up the leaves, so I need to have the tractor to collect those leaves, cut the grass, you know, there is like an acre lot, you know, and winter time also, you know, I need to, because it's my last lot, you know, so when they blow the snow, they blow in my way, you know, the snow, so I have to, I can't shoveling, you know, we're comparing with the machine, so I have to push with my tractor, you know, again, the snow, you know, the winter time, and I bought that shed, you know, and and that I bought as a one piece. I bought that shed from the Amish. They delivered that shed, you know. So, and I never know what there is the law, you know, but I couldn't, you know, put the shed in my backyard, you know, which one was it is a fence, you know, the backyard, you know. And plus, you know, when I was talking with the Kirk, he was okay with that, so I said, I'm okay with that one. And almost 2 years, this shed was sitting over there and was not bothering no one. After last summer, I have to knock at the door, 2 inspectors from the city of Crest Hill coming, and they said, they start looking and asking about my shed, what's the case, how it's come, and then you know, it's come, you know, I need to go to the hearings, you know, and then I need to do the plot of survey because I didn't have before, you know, that plot of survey. So the Don offering me, you know, to where to go to the local city of Crest Hill, you know, the people so did for me the lot of survey, you know, and now I understand that time I did it without, you know, I supposed to go follow the law, you know, but that I didn't know that one, but there is any law, you know, what I can put, you know, plus there was the payables over here, so I put that shed on the payables. I have the pictures, I can show you, you know, I have it over here, I don't know if you want, I can show it to you, you know, and I keep in that one shed, there is not that I keep, everybody has the stuff, so this is not that point, but my point where I'm coming from, but you know, because mine is the last lot, you know, and I am next to the forest preserve, so there is a lot of leaves, you know, in the autumn, you know, when they come, you know, there is going down, you know, then again, you know, that's the reason I have 2 kids as well, you know, so we're keeping the bikes, but the point is this one, in that shed I have the pictures from inside so I can show it. I just keep all the, you know, the stuff what it's around to rent the house, you know, there is nothing special, you know, or something what I hiding over here or keep the cars or something, you know, that's the only one reason I get that shed and why I would like to keep that shed in where there is. It's perfect exit and it's good entrance, you know, because like I'm the last house for the forest preserve and there is the entrance, you know, at 12 foot the entrance from my house and the fence, so I can get in easy with my tractor when I blow the snow winter time, you know, and then again summertime when I need, you know, cut the grass, you know, so I'm cutting, you know, all around. It's pretty easy for me and it's good entrance and exit out also from the shed, you know. I don't know what to say else. Maybe questions. And I mean, if you need it for some reason, that they move the shed, you know, if they're planning to do in the future something, I'm okay with that. I also did the homework. I also call, you know, the Julie of the company, so they come around my property, they mark, you know, the lines. There is any electricity, any water pipes. Well, I have the letter from the city of Crest Hill, and I have it here with me. But there is any serve or the water pipes under the shed. Everything is in front of my house. There is nothing in the back of the house. So when the Julie come, also they mark all the, you know, and everything is on the back of my house, you know, under the fence to the Gaylord side because there was the road, you know, and there is nothing under the shed or under the driveway where there is right now, you know, so I don't think so, but it was sitting for 2 years and no bothering no one, after, I don't know, maybe for someone, I don't know, well, how is that happened, but this is what is happening. And I feel sorry for this, that I invite you, all of you, in this situation. I don't want to have problems, I have the family, raise the kids, and I have the pictures I can show you, but you can get my point from where I'm coming from. So
Yeah, I think we have those pictures.
I have it more, I prefer for today's special, so I don't know, I have a couple of copies,
Yeah.
we could, if you want to, more than welcome, to
I've
see.
got the pictures here.
Well, these are different.
This is, I made it more pictures, but remember that I was mentioned when the before, and this is when the tree fell down, on the van, and I have to fix it, and that, and there was a lot of, from city of Brazil, people coming to fix it, this one, some of my notices on the way, but the tractors and the drivers, they're removing all those ones. So this is basically how it's happening.
That must have been quite a storm.
And this is, you see, this is one piece, so they deliver it for me, the shed, so I didn't nail, I didn't build, they deliver it for me and drop it and just, and I didn't know that. What I did because besides entrance, so I put the tables that I can get in over there, and the tables was already over there, so I just put on the tables, stay on the tables, that shed, and this is, you see, this is of the back of the yard, you see, this is where my end of the, where my lot is finishing, And there is nothing over here, whereas the comparing, the shed is sitting so, there is no lines. You see, there is nothing, everything is out of the fence,
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Here's some extra pictures.
All right, let's start with Commissioner Peterson. If you have any questions?
I do, I have a couple. So it sounds like when the city came out to clean up the storm damage, that you let them on your property, let them take care of their business.
Yes,
Is that when you met Kirk?
yes,
And then Kirk kind of said to you, basically, hey man, I owe you a favor. And you told him what you wanted to do with the shed and where you wanted to put it and what was going on.
and I was,
And then he gave you permission, you go ahead and you do whatever you want to do because we're scratching each other's back.
basically,
true?
that's what was the happen, and now if I will do it, it will be this guy will try to write what they can write so I can prove it, this because, it was only the words, but the point is this one, they come with don't get me wrong, they come with the tractors too, so remove that, the tree, so they put those legs, they destroy my driveway, but I'm okay with that, and even, the insurance didn't pay because the police couldn't report because the tree was already removed, so everything comes on my shoulders as well, I take care of that one, but when the court told me, but you're gonna be okay with the shed, and I didn't know what I need to go, if I knew it, what I need to do something, I go ahead and do it, but I didn't know what this is, I don't need anything else, to do that, so that's the reason I get the shed. I was telling him that I'm planning to get the shed, bigger shed, and he said, don't worry, you're okay, and that's basically what was happening.
So he just gave you permission to do whatever you wanted to do?
No, just to drop the shed, I was telling him, but I wanna put the shed on the pavels over here in the side of my backyard. And that's again, if you come in those lots, they're all lots the same, If I will put it in the middle of my backyard, I have the kids who like to play soccer, Now it's in the corner shed. It's not bothering no one, The kids playing, I also have a dog, play with the dog. So, that's the point, why we want to keep that shed in that spot, because I know what is on the easement, and but before that one, I didn't know that one, and it's again, it was, I think it's not bothering no one, that shed, and like I said, we check it out, there is nothing, there is any cables, any utilities or something under the shed, or the driveway, so, and I'm okay, in the future, if you need, to remove for some reason, you guys, you want to do some work over there, I'm okay to move it, but the point is this one, this is very, perfect spot, to stay over there.
So, I was over by your house, so it's all fenced in. Realistically, if nobody would have approached you, we wouldn't even be here because it hasn't bothered anyone. You had
Yep.
permission from the previous building inspector to put
Yes.
it there.
Yes.
It hasn't bothered anyone for 3 years.
2 years, yes.
2 years.
Yeah, now 3 years.
How did it become a big deal?
Now become a big deal. Well, become a big deal, I was come back. I live here and my business over here in the city of Crest Hill as well, and I was coming back, for the lunch at the home, and I just see 2 inspectors knock at my front of the house, I opened for them and they said, well, we have the issues about your shed. And then how it start all that, it's this thing for me, I'm fighting since summer, it's already a long time. Every month I going to hearing more than I have years already, for that thing, And, I'm in distress and I feel bad that these things happen, and then, I meet Don, the new guy, he wants to do everything that way, but, it was already what it is, and he called me last week. He comes at my place, I let him in, we walk around, I ask him, and that's basically what is happening,
So was there a complaint about it, or they just why'd they just pick to show up?
They don't tell me, and I have no idea why they didn't show up.
Okay. One more question. So who had it located, the city or you? Located, ComEd and the gas company, the flags, the lines. Did
Oh,
you do that?
no, I called the company, that company named Julie.
Okay, so you called.
I call, yes, and then that company called to the city because I was wondering maybe there is any waters, maybe pipes. So I get the letter from the city, I get the letter from the Julie, but there is nothing over there, and they even the mark, everything, and they put the flags, but there is nothing over there. Everything is outside the fence, so nothing is in my realistically backyard. Everything is outside, the fence.
Okay, wait, so one more time. You had Julie come out.
Yes.
They did the Julie for you.
Yes.
And then they reported it to the city?
Yes.
So the city's well aware that there's
Yes.
nothing there?
Yes,
Everything's outside your fence?
yes,
Towards the west and towards the south?
yes,
And you're all fenced in?
yes.
Thanks.
Just so I get it straight, someone actually told you that you could put the shed where you wanted to put it before you built the shed and put it there.
No, you see, the thing is this one, there was already the pavel, and I showed them what I wanna put here, the shed, when we was talking, and basically, I was planning to put over there, but anyway, before that one, I was planning to go to the city, but when I meet the Kirk, I talked with him and I thought that that's fine, and I don't have any issues, and that's basically how it's happened.
Okay, and no one mentioned anything to you about easements or setbacks or anything of that nature?
I even didn't know until I did my plot of survey, and then I found out that I'm guilty and I'm bad,
Okay, fine, thank you.
I just have a couple safety issues. I mean, there's a reason why we have these ordinances is for safety. And one of the things is the hurricane ties. That's for safety. Safety reasons you have to have that. And another thing is, your shed is not supported on a hard surface. The ground shifts over time. That shed's gonna shift over time. I have an older house. My house has shifted over time, and the same thing will happen with the shed over time. So that's the reason you have that hard surface. And that's the reason we have ordinances, is to protect the homeowner, protect people. So that's my,
I mean, if this is a case, I'm okay. I can call any handyman, wherever has license over here. They can come make it stronger, make it dig it, whatever need to be done, I'm okay to that, to fix it, to do the right way, follow whatever needs to be done.
I have a question for whoever can answer it. Looking at the pictures that are submitted here in the packet, it looks like the shed is supported on pavers.
That's
Partially
what
on
I'm saying.
pavers, partially on gravel.
Gravel, yeah.
Well,
Well, that's a hard surface.
that's a hard surface. I've built bridges that sit on gravel.
Right.
And a bridge holds a little more weight than a shed. So a gravel surface is a hard surface. Now, it may not be paver or concrete, but I believe that meets the standard of a hard surface.
Can I make a statement or ask a question? We're here to decide the variance. We're not here to decide about hurricane ties and.
Well,
No,
while I agree with you, one of the things in the complaint is that it's not meeting the variance because it's not on a hard surface.
I think,
Am I correct?
Well, and it's not that the variance that it's not on a hard surface, the variance is because of its location. So the variance is because of its location, its proximity to the south property line, and its proximity to the west property line, as well as then the encroachment into the easement. In terms of the building, that's a building code requirement, that regardless if you approve the variation or not, in consideration, that whatever the building department has in terms of the hurricane and so forth, that's subject to the building code. So that's not, we can't waiver those requirements of the building code. The plan commission, under the zoning ordinance, can vary in terms of the setbacks on both the west and the south, as well as on the encroachment into the easements.
so if we give him permission to leave it where it's at, then he's just gonna have to go through the building commission to make it right as far as the next hurricane that comes through Crest Hill, that the shed won't blow away, and everything else is up to par.
He would, to make it legal in terms of being there as a structure, not only the variation, but also meeting the required building codes, correct? And I can't speak to if that's all of it or whatnot, but that's where it gets then tossed to the building, because essentially there's no permit for it, so it's almost like a retroactive permit, and they would have to go ahead and approve it and review it at that time. Unfortunately, because it's existing, it makes it a little bit more cumbersome to the applicant to meet those codes possibly.
Okay.
Excuse me, this person that told you that you can put the shed where you put it, was he a representative of Crest Hill? I'm sorry, I have to go back to that, but he was a representative of the
Oh, yeah.
city.
Yeah, he was the city engineer, I don't know, 10 years ago. He's no longer with the city of Crest Hill.
Oh,
He was-
yeah, all
he was
right.
the
He was a building
Got nothing in
inspector.
writing giving
Yeah,
you-
building inspector.
before-
No, you're right. He was the
before-
building
yeah.
inspector. He has been in Caroline Lakes.
And
we
they
were
was with
building-
uniform as well, they was writing the city of Brazil.
Yeah. All right, so here's the deal. I mean, it's unfortunate that you had to be here. It's unfortunate that if somebody told you or not, who cares? It is what it is now. So what we want to do now is figure out, we want to fix this the easiest, the less expensive way to make it safe and to come to some agreement on the easements. So forget about the variances right now. This is new. Hurricane ties is now a new ordinance. I don't care wherever you are in the city of Chicago. If we ever got a really strong wind, I hope we never do, and that roof comes detached and blows on to Gaylord and there's cars going by, it could be deadly. That's why hurricane ties are now a standard in building sheds and things that have that potential. The base underneath it is not consistent. It's gravel, it's pavers. The engineers would like to see a solid surface under there. They would then like to see the shed body attached to that. And then with the hurricane ties, that shed's not gonna go anywhere, okay? So I don't think we can in good conscience say, well, we're gonna give you a variance and consider it until the shed is now safe. And it's pretty well detailed what you need to do to make that safe. Now, the comment in there that kind of concerns me is that in order for you to make this safe, you're gonna have to move the shed. and then either move it back, but you're gonna have to physically move it while they work on the base. And so what I wanna try to do is give you some idea of where you could put it back, so that once it's inspected and safe, then we might be able to agree on the variance in that spot. And so without the engineer here, my thinking is that easement to the south is very important. If we ever got a really huge rain and it started to flood Gaylord or flood into there, that work would need to be done there. I hope it never happens, but that's a real serious concern. So what I'm thinking of is we enforce the 4 feet from the south, and we allow it to be just 6 feet in the back. So you would have to move the shed about 3 feet inward, and then you fix all this stuff, and now you've got no problem with the easement on the south. And because there's nothing behind you, really, we'll let you have it 6 feet away instead of 30. And so if we can get some kind of an agreement with the engineers that that's okay, and then we'll tell you, if you're gonna start working and you've gotta move that thing, if you move it back there, then I'm pretty sure when you come back and they approve it, then we would grant you that variance to leave it there. So there's a lot of things that kinda have to come together, but I think they're all doable. And I think if we move it 4 feet to the north, where your driveway is, I think you're gonna be able to make a little curlicue there and still have your pavers go into that thing. I mean, I think so, from what I've been out there and looked at it, but I didn't go in your backyard, but I looked at your pictures. And I think that's pretty doable. You're just gonna pick up those pavers and curve them. So, I don't know, who do we have to talk to?
Mr. Chairman, if I might, so what I'm, just to kind of reiterate, to put back, is saying that, one, since it has to be relocated, just in terms, whether interim, just to address it, to work with both the city engineers to reduce the impact of the variation requests, particularly along the south property line. Is that what I'm gathering?
Yeah.
Okay. And then in terms of that, which relates to the west property line, is to minimize it as greatly as we can.
Right.
Okay? That would be something that we could definitely go back and work with both the city engineer, as well as then our code, to see where it falls into, and then work with the applicant as well to find that location, where it would be. And then we could come back, as we've noted that we did have a notification as well, so we're gonna wanna come back the 14th anyway, but we can go ahead and further define that with the applicant to see how can we minimize the extent of the variations. Is that what I'm hearing from the commission?
Yeah, so you need to think now about what we're saying. If we are able to do this, if that's gonna be acceptable to you. I mean, you're gonna have to still contact these different vendors to correct these things, but you already know that. And I just don't want you to move the shed more than one more time. If you have to move it to fix these, let's try to come up, even though it's not approved yet, and give you some confidence that if you do this, we would approve it, and just put it right back to where it would be approved.
And I really appreciate it. If you anytime you want to stop by, show you, whatever, how it is. And you
Well,
can,
I mean, I've been by there a couple times. Let me just say, you've got a beautiful house. There's no
Thank you.
doubt about it.
Gorgeous.
And,
thank you, work hard.
was there anybody else here that was gonna comment on?
Well, I had one more
Wait,
question.
yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But basically, do you need a 12-foot by 30-foot shed?
Realistically, I do.
You do. So
Yes.
in other words, that's off the table. This is a size that you're married to, and you can't get any smaller.
I prefer even for bigger, but
Okay, no problem.
thank you.
Okay, wait, I have a question. So when we're talking about moving it 4 foot off of the south property line, there's a fence there, right? Is there a fence on the south?
There is a fence, yes.
So why are you gonna have him move his shed in 4 foot, but let him keep his fence there?
Because the fence is not an issue. The fence was already approved to go on that easement. As is what I was told. If they needed to do that, I mean, they let any fences go on easements because they can easily move them, take them apart, put them back. So I already got, I mean, that's a good point, I thought the same thing, but I was told that the fence is not an issue.
And so, where did the 4 foot come from?
Well, the fence is along the property line,
Actually, 2 foot behind the property line.
so
I'm
it's in 2 feet?
It's in, yes, so my property line, 2.1 foot on the south side. So realistically, my backyard is smaller, and the same on the back, on my back fence, I'm also smaller. I can show you over here, this is the plot of the survey, right? And so this is where the shed, this is the shed, right?
Right,
So this is
okay.
2.1 foot from the shed from this side, and it's
So
6
the
foot.
orange is the property line?
No, the property line somewhere over there.
Oh, right there, okay.
Yeah, this is just a broad close where the cables go, you know, the
Yeah,
cables
okay.
over here.
So we need, again, to what your point, we need to talk with the engineer and see, maybe he doesn't need to go 4 feet off the property line, and it's only 2 feet from his fence.
Well, right now, there is a 12-foot drainage easement along that south property line, so regardless of the impact of the setback, we still have that we still have that easement
But they're only
variation.
saying they wanted it 4 feet on that side.
That's what it would be required to be, but because of an easement, so you have kind of two play here. One, you have the setback, because in some situations, some cases, there are no easements. Like, for example, as north side, there are no easements, but then we also have the south side. So my recommendation of moving forward with this discussion is that we go back and sit down with the engineers, understand what the extent is, and within the realm of the ordinance, maybe he does meet that requirement, but he's still impacting that drainage easement. We want to make sure that we keep those drainage easements for so much. To go back to the conversation is that structures are different than fences. You know, we do look at fences, we do look at certain areas, but having that structure in there kind of, you know, stops the flow. So that's one of the reasons why they want to have it in there. So I'd recommend that we come back, because we still have that variation impact into that easement, regardless if it's 4 feet, because it's a 12-foot easement.
Okay.
So we still have to consider that. I might recommend that we go back, sit down with the engineers, and we sit down, understand their comfort level where it would be, if at all, and then come back to the applicant.
Okay.
But what I'm gathering is that to the south, to the west side, where there's a public utility access easement, there is no drainage there, that the impact would be, we could consider that in a different level. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so
I have.
I think we totally understand your concern. So we need to do a little investigation on our own before we say, here's exactly what we want to do. So let us do that, and then Maura will get back to you and tell you what we've decided to do. And then, you know, we're gonna end up recessing this public hearing, and we're gonna ask you to come back on March 14th. You will already know what we're now proposing to correct this. And, you know, if it's acceptable, we'll proceed to move forward.
Thank you so much.
right.
Thank you so much.
Did you wanna say something? All right, please come to the podium.
You want me to sign in?
You sign in, please.
Okay.
And raise your right hand when you're ready. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
I do.
State your name.
My name is Michael Schwab. I'm a neighbor. I live down the block, about a block away from Dennis. This whole thing probably could have been avoided if Dennis had gotten a building permit. But, as you notice, Dennis is an immigrant to this country. He's a U.S. citizen. And I lived in that neighborhood since 1990, and I can assure you that house that Dennis bought was in real bad shape. It was, I believe, in foreclosure. And Dennis came in and over time made many, many improvements to that home. And because they were building related, Dennis always had the permits for all the work that was done in the house. Now, I know ignorance of the law or the rules or whatever is no excuse, but in his situation, because he did not build the shed, he bought the shed. And I've had this conversation with him many times, that, you know, he was mistaken where he didn't need a building permit. He just bought the shed, they delivered it, and they set it down for him. So, like I say, I think if he had gotten the building permit, then we probably wouldn't be here tonight discussing any of this. But I can assure you, I don't think he was trying to cut any corners, only because all the improvements that he did to his home, I mean, he always had the correct building permit to have the work done. So that's why I think, you know, the train ran off the tracks. Now, you know, I don't understand this drainage easement and what all that involves. I know Julie was out, and I believe it's the cable and, I don't know, is it ComEd? Are in that south easement. They are, I think it's over 2 feet off of his fence line. And, you know, all the work, you know, again, I've been in that neighborhood, I walk all the time, and all the work they do there, it's always underground. You know, they've long got a whole fence line, you know, on the east side of Dennis's house. And, you know, I've never seen anybody having to get in there with any kind of machinery or anything to dig. And, you know, ComEd had to put a new cable and it ran through my yard in the easement. And they had a relatively small backhoe loader that they brought in because they had to dig. And, you know, they were fine. So, you know, I'm just eyeballing it, and the size of that backhoe loader that ComEd used, you know, if they have to dig there for some reason, I can understand it. I just don't know, you know, so somebody mentioned about the water draining and an excessive amount of rain draining onto Gaylord. Well, to me, you got all that water from the park district, the park there, it's all running towards Gaylord too. So I don't know what is so, I guess, important about that easement.
I can't speak directly to that because that's under the purview of the engineers.
Okay,
However,
well, yeah, I'm no
typically
engineer,
drainage
but-
easements are where flow of water goes from one property to the other. So they've indicated that it's just in the nature of the easement and where it's placed, to not allow structures in there, and it's part of the ordinance because of how it can negatively impact adjacent property. So that's why in the conversations.
Okay,
All right, so we hear you. Let me
All right.
repeat it again.
okay.
We're here, we can't change how we got here.
No,
now, but
no,
We're gonna do
no,
everything
but-
we can to make this as painless and as most economical to get your shed safe and to, you know, take care of the concerns that the engineers have with the easements. So-
And, you know, I don't know, he mentioned Kirk and his dealings with Kirk, and I can understand, you know, that tree did a lot of damage to his van, and in order to expedite things and to get things moving on the repair, you know, because his insurance company, you know, they have to come out and instead of the adjusters and look at the damage before they are gonna honor his insurance claim. And, you know, the city can't wait for that to happen. So, you know, I think it was one case where, you know, one hand washes the other, you know. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to say anything? Let me, we got 2 emails today, and this one from Sharon Curbis, you know. Is that you? Wow, I should let you read this. But she asked that we read this into the minutes, and it says, I request the commission to approve the variances requested for the property at 2001 Noonan. The property owners, Mr. and Mrs. K, have improved and enhanced the neighborhood with everything they have done, and the quality of their improvements is nothing but top-notch. They are great neighbors and definite assets to the community. Therefore, I think approval of the request should be granted. Nicely said. And then there's another one from Jessica London. Says she wasn't feeling good. She lives on Ardaw, but she has no issue with the structure in the backyard. So complements what Mike was just saying. So it sounds like a broken record. At this point, let us do some due diligence to see how we can resolve this to the satisfaction of everybody. And we appreciate you bringing this to our attention. If there's nothing else, then I'm gonna need a motion to recess the public hearing to the March 14th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Carroll, second by Commissioner Peterson. Roll call, please.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Jeff Peterson,
Yeah.
Cheryl Slavazeski,
Yes.
Angelo DeSario,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Public hearing recessed at 8:21. Okay. The next item of business is other business. Is there anyone in the audience that has anything else they want to comment on from what we've already talked about? I see none. Are there anyone in the audience that wants to make a public comment about anything other than what we've talked about? I see none. Having said that, then can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Commissioner Peterson makes the motion, and I have a second.
Second.
Commissioner DeSario seconds it. Can I have roll call, please?
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Angelo DeSario,
Yes.
Ken Carroll. Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Cheryl Slavazeski,
Yes.
Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Meeting adjourned at 8:22 PM.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.